going to start off with Brent, and then Neirda's going to also answer. So Brent, how long have you been leading the Women's Resource Center in technology and digital navigation training, and was it a planned path for you, or did it evolve?
Thank you, Cheri, and good afternoon, everyone. We've been leading digital navigation at the Women's Resource Center since 2021, and I'd say it's a combination of an intentional effort and evolution. Historically, we offered computer classes, and funny enough, our CEO, Ashley Brown, actually got her start with the Women's Resource Center as a volunteer teaching these computer classes. Yes,
amazing.
yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, Neirda.
FUNducation focuses on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So when the opportunity came to add to the technology piece, which was the digital literacy, digital navigation, access, we jumped at the opportunity to do it. Because it's going to be the foundation of getting our kids ready for the jobs of tomorrow. They have to be ready to embrace, that tech.
They really do. All right. So we wanted to talk a little bit about challenges. So let me ask you, let's go ahead and get the challenges out on the table.
So I would say, there's two challenges that come to mind. The first was when we initially started, one of our challenges was finding volunteer digital navigators. And we quickly realized that someone with even basic computer skills could be invaluable to someone with little to no experience. And that really allowed us to adjust the way we approached recruitment and training of our volunteers to have a much larger pool of enthusiastic digital navigators. And I think secondly, one challenge when we started was client engagement. We had a lot of clients come to us that necessarily weren't looking to learn, but rather for us to complete tasks for them. So once we had that information, we changed our approach in how we marketed the program and how we taught and trained our digital navigators to focus really on empowerment, focus on clients finding the solutions and the answers for themselves rather than us just providing them to them. And those are two challenges that come to mind. And I think, empowerment and moving forward towards empowerment has been one of our greatest successes.
That's great. Neirda.
Tell them, Brent.
Yeah, right.
So I worked with kids. That's the challenge. Imagine putting a student or a child, we work with K through 12 in front of a computer, but there isn't a video game on. Like you're telling them, hey, you need to learn how to type. Or you need to learn these are the different parts of the computer. Or, the keyboard is not a drum. For some reason, if they're not doing anything, they think it's okay to bang on the keys in the keyboard. And some adults, right? So for me, that was the biggest challenge. How do you break it down for a student to keep them engaged and then for them to able to take it in and then repeat it and use it? And we always do it by gamifying it and making it fun. The second challenge is it's not just the kids, because typically if the kids aren't digitally literate or aren't familiar, it's because the parents aren't either, and they don't have the tools and the access at home. So now how do we get in contact or get what we do with the kids to trickle back to the household? So then it was trying to figure out how do you connect with the parents, how do you get the parents to buy in so they can encourage the kids to have the habits and to learn as well as the parents without intruding or insulting and some people are very sensitive, which, I don't blame them. It's your household or whatever, about what they have at home, or they feel like they're being judged because they don't have something or, So those were probably the two biggest challenges, but, after that it's cake.
Right. Well, and so, I know we experienced during I'd say from 2021 on through at least last year, sort of a difficulty in telling the story of how digital navigators are needed, and especially how they can be supported.
Yeah.
And I'm saying financially, because you have other responsibilities at the Women's Resource Center and FUNducation, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so, expand upon those challenges and the skill set that you look for digital navigators. And you talked about your volunteers, but you don't just let anybody do that, right? And especially if you're funding it within your own programming and organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And, technical expertise is valuable, but that's not what makes a great digital navigator by any means. Being able to communicate, being able to understand clients' needs and barriers, being able to empower, being able to teach, being patient. These are all skills and qualities that make a really good digital navigator. They need to be able to be someone that can relate to our clients and really understand, like I said, the barriers or the obstacles that they're going through, and then tailor how they're teaching or how they're providing service to those particular clients based on their specific needs.
I think it also a humbling a person. There are some people, just a quick tally. How many people in this room consider themselves digitally literate? Like digital literate, right. So you know all the different parts of the computer, you'd say. You know how to do an intelligent search, vet your resources, But you would be surprised how many people think they're digitally literate, and then you put something in front of them or ask them something, and you're like, well, maybe you can come back here first and take this course with me and then put yourself out there. So yes, fearless and able to communicate, but also open to the fact, well, hey, just because I use a computer every day doesn't mean I really am digitally literate, which means maybe I'm not automatically a digital navigator, which is why the training was, I'll admit it, even myself, STEAM, engineering background, some things came up and I went, really? Not out loud. But I did. We really, but we use computers some of us. How many people in this room has touched a computer at least once today already? Or a device, or every hand better be up. Don't you lie. Right? But there are some people who don't have that exposure. They don't, but we assume it, so then you assume just because you're using it, so it's also that humbling and realizing maybe you're not, and getting the training so you can deliver it properly, and then that trickles down.
So help me tell the audience, when you talk about wanting to increase your skills for either education or employment, is there one over the other right now that people are really coming to you for?
I think at the Women's Resource Center, we see employment as one of the biggest reasons why people are coming for digital literacy training. The average age of our client attending digital navigation is 62. And you may think, oh, maybe these are just seniors that want to upskill, get more familiar with computer. Unfortunately, these are seniors that are having to re-enter the workforce because of the cost of living, and they really need to learn, much more about how you use a computer, how to research, how to vet sources in the employment space. So I would say certainly employment is one of the biggest ones. And then I would also add, technology, we live in a technological era. It touches every aspect of our life, whether that's employment, healthcare, developing financial literacy. Without digital literacy, you can be left behind, and you don't have the same opportunities that other people have. So while we do see mostly employment, it touches across that spectrum.
Yeah.
For us, it's education leading to employment, and they're not coming. FUNducation is sending them into digital literacy. Our kids today, I don't know, teenagers at home or a middle schooler or whatever, have you seen them type? It's this finger right here, and they're typing. So imagine, I'm telling my middle schoolers and my high schoolers, you do realize at some point you may have to write a paper or something, using a device, and there's going to be a time frame on it. You can't sit there pecking your life away trying to get these things done. So for us, it's trying to, again, convince and engage them they even need these skills because it's going to lay the path for them for the future. So for us, it's education leading into employment.
We used to laugh about in a prior employment opportunity for myself. It was related to the libraries, and I think Linda's out here from DeSoto. And after Christmas or other holidays, people would come in and say, "My daughter got this for me for Christmas, but I don't know how to work it." And so the librarians would be, okay, we can help you a little bit, but you really need to learn those skills. So one of the questions that a lot of people want to know here today too is, is it basic skills like how to use different programs like Word or Excel, or even now, flyers and graphics and Canva. Are all of those kinds of things needed, or just specific ones that you're finding, or are there new ones popping up?
That's a great question. We really try to tailor it to the needs of our clients. So what is their end in mind? What is their goal? What are they trying to accomplish? Is it finding a job and they know they're going to have to use Excel but have no experience using Excel? Great, we're going to start with Excel. Maybe we have to back up and start with, in some cases, how to even use a mouse or talking about parts of a computer. But really, we try to tailor it, and the needs are very great in terms of what they need help with. But again, it's really about what is their end in mind, what is their goal, what do they want to accomplish, and then our digital navigators can be very specific on what they're teaching. And sometimes they don't know what that is either. They don't know what their goal or the end in mind. They just know they need to improve their skills. So we'll start very basic in those situations and introduce a computer, introduce common programs, email, internet, and then as they start to learn, they start to say, okay, I like Google. I like looking things up. I want to now learn how to use Google Maps to get to my location. Great, let's move to that. So sometimes you have to guide them along that path as well, that journey.
Mm-hmm. And then the young people, that
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. FUNducation is expose, engage, and inspire, because we're trying to get them ready for the jobs we don't even know exist yet. So they've got to see what's existing now, and then they'll either be able to apply it or take it to the next level. But for me, I'm still taken aback. Like, our kids today don't know what Microsoft Word is. You just said Excel. How many people know what Excel is? Raise your hand. I love a good spreadsheet. I love the information you can pull from a spreadsheet, the different graphs. Ooh, love it. Our kids today don't know what Excel is, or a Google Sheet is, or even a spreadsheet. If it opens up, they're like, what are we supposed to do with this? It's crazy. I think I was spreadsheeting out of my mom's womb. I remember in school I was doing reports, and it was already ingrained in everything that we did. So FUNducation is trying to bring that back. So you may get, yes, we're doing robotics, but guess what? You've got to research all the parts that you need, and then I want you to organize that in a spreadsheet for us so that you can tell me what you need so I can go buy it. How much does it cost? Here's the budget. Then you have to present using a Google slide for your team. All of it. Just expose them to all of it. And for some of them, they find like their niche in one of the programs, like you said. And then the training wheels come off, and you've got the student coming up to you like, look what I did on Google. Yeah, ooh, look at all that transition or whatever. So expose and engage all of it as much as you can, as much as they can take without blowing their minds, but all of it.
Well, so that leads me to ask a question about within your organization. Now, I know, Neirda, you're a small shop, but I'm gonna give this question and let's see what happens. So while we're talking about dealing with the external world and clients and people coming in, what transitions over the last few years have had you do in your own organization?
Incorporate AI.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we incorporate it so that, again, the kids can be exposed. Technology is you have to be on it. From the time you learn something, it's probably obsolete, and then something else is coming. So if you don't, you're just going to get further and further behind. So for us, and especially for our kids, we always try to have the latest and greatest, like everything, so that they've at least seen it, touched it, tasted it, and then can go from there.
At the Women's Resource Center, we've made huge transitions in the last 5 years, specifically since the pandemic, in the technology we use. Paper used to be pre-2020 how we did a lot of our record keeping, and the pandemic forced us to transition to electronics. So we have transitioned our database, our data tracking. We've transitioned our registration forms, our session forms that our facilitators fill out, our appointment and email notifications are all automated now. Those used to be manually typed up and sent. Now we have a program that automates them and sends it out, based on conditions that we put in. So it's really, we've done a lot of work ourselves internally to come up to speed and make things, more efficient.
So one of the goals for the symposium is to see how you'll delve into that as a nonprofit or we have people from all sectors here, but we know that a lot of the nonprofits that are here, want to make that jump, you want to expand. There's a financial commitment, but the skill set could be right there in your very own organization. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're talking about here is, as we talk about finding digital navigators in your own organization, could be people that just need that additional training, they need that confidence, they need to move forward, and how much it can enhance your actual organization by doing it from within too, by giving those extra kudos and skills to those people that are in your organization. So how do you plan to evolve? Here you are today. What's your dream and desire? This is you too, for your organization, and can you get there?
Yeah, we can get there. Absolutely. The eye is on the prize. And, we have Ann Carter's with us today. She's our fantastic systems and engagement director and is really leading the charge at continuing to evolve and develop and improve our systems. And I'd say with digital navigation, too, we really want to start providing deeper sessions in terms of content and what people are learning, and expand that service offering, and also internally to our teams. We need to provide these resources and tools to our teams as well. As we roll out new systems at our organization, they need to be trained on how to use those systems, on how to operate those systems. So it is constantly evolving, and we are constantly growing.
Yes, same thing. Just keeping our team always on the cusp or next to the cusp or looking at the cusp of what's next and how we can expose that to the kids, but then the kids taking it in and sharing it, and taking it to the next level. Like I said, I've been doing Microsoft Word, but surface level, there's a deeper layer of Microsoft Word and the stuff that you can do in there, like the student that latches onto that and then brings it to me and says, hey, look, we can do, yes, we can, go ahead and do that, and then pass it on to the next and then into the households. That would be beautiful.
All right, so let's add another layer onto this, and that is bilingual digital navigators and the world that you're living in now, and how difficult or what have you done to accomplish that challenge?
That's great. It's certainly been a challenge, is finding bilingual digital navigators to support our Spanish-speaking clients.
Okay, my name is Yvette Gonzalez, and I work for the Women Resource Center over here in Sarasota.
And I'm Judith Sanchez. I'm bilingual case manager at the Women Resource Center.
We are working on a Spanish-speaking digital navigator workshop that will be offered in the community. So we are trying to constantly enhance our program and our service offering to meet the needs of clients, especially our Latina population.
And let me tell you, no child gets left behind in my room. So I speak English, French, Creole because I'm Haitian American, enough Spanish to stay out of trouble, and Italian. But you would be surprised, in some other languages it doesn't even translate some of the terms. So that's when I force them to have to get it in English, because I can't even find it in your language. But then that's when they start their English learning journey. They get more excited about it too, or whenever they see something related, to what you just showed them, whenever they see one. So it's been fun for me too. It was like, well, how would you say that in your language? So but with Google Translate, there isn't a person I can speak to. I will talk to you all day.
Yeah.
And I know that you all have been wonderful partners with with our STUG group, the Sarasota Technology Users Group. And I just wondered if you could share with the audience here how that's evolved for you and how invaluable, important it is to have that relationship.
Really? You want?
Yeah, go for it.
It's very important, because again, for some of us, how many people have more than one device in your household?
Yeah.
More than two? More than three? There's a support group on the other side for more than four. Some households have one with kids ages 4 to 17 and multiple kids in those households. So that piece is so important because, and especially, yes, you have them in school for 40 minutes, when you work with them, but as soon as they go home, if you're lucky, maybe half of that sticks, and then they don't get to practice it or see it at home. So having, partners like STUG, and then local foundation. FUNducation now actually has devices, it's like a lending library. So if there's a student that, doesn't have a device at home, or there are devices, but it's like one tablet for 5 kids or one laptop, we can now lend them a device. So that, lend them, because they become, lend them a device. And then they're able to have that exposure at home too. But you have to have it at home. It becomes, how many of you now are carrying your phones, right? It becomes a part of you, right? Your tablets, right?
Paper.
So we have to entrust them with that and give them that experience as well. So those partnerships are invaluable.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. The partnership with Sarasota Technology Users Group has been invaluable to our community. It is one of very few or the only place in our community where you can get a free device. And most of our clients' financial struggles are a huge barrier in their life. They cannot afford even a refurbished $150 laptop. That is completely out of their budget. So it's really important, and we see most people have a smartphone, but we see, to be really successful, you need some sort of other device. When yes, you can do almost everything on your smartphone, but really, when it comes to employment and coming to the workforce, you need to know how to use a laptop. You need to know how to use a computer. So you need to be able to practice on that. And you think about all the things in our world that we have to navigate with technology, from healthcare to education to employment, to banking and finance. Sure, you may be able to do some of that on your phone, but it's such an important resource to have to connect people to free devices.
So this is your opportunity now. We've got these great people cornered here for another 8 minutes or so, and I wonder if we open it up to the audience, if any of you would have any questions, anything specific. I see a hand already back there, and if you just step up and say your first name, and then ask your question.
Hi, everyone. My name's Leah. I have 2 kids in elementary school, and what I've noticed as the pattern for being exposed to technology in school is there's an abundance of work on the computer, including all of their testing now. And even in 4th grade, I've learned that the testing, all of their writing assignments essays and things like that will start to be typed only. But there's no requirement for them to learn typing as part of their curriculum, nor is there really any teaching of how to use the computer, except that they get told how to take the test on the computer. Right. So I see, and I try to limit screen time at home because I know how much they get there. So I'm finding myself in this sort of weird place of how do I make sure they know what they're doing when they're on a computer. And I do think these younger kids have a little bit more of an innate understanding than my generation and those older than me, because we didn't grow up with it in quite the same way. But I still feel like there's not really an opportunity for them to truly understand how to navigate this digital world. And I'm curious what you would suggest we do as parents outside of school to ensure that they're not just knowing how to kind of press the buttons and move along, but that they really are understanding the devices.
Well, first of all that other stuff just didn't sound fun, right? So already they're associating their device or any type of interaction with like testing or schoolwork so what you have to do is find a way to get the stuff that they really need, but get it to them like it's in a fun way, right? So the time that you do a lot for them at home, maybe make a portion of it for the work that they have to do, and then find the other portion of it to be something fun. so that they know that they can always use it for something fun, but you got to slip in the education. I call it educational espionage. You have to slip in the education as well. And there are so many great platforms to teach kids. And by the way, they don't call it typing anymore. Now it's keyboarding.
Oh.
See, you're showing your age.
Right, I didn't even know
We're
that.
not typing. If you're going to walk around town, yes, my child does keyboarding. Okay, it's not typing anymore. But there are some really cool apps for typing, and like I said, they're gamified. And if you can make it, give them a reward for it, or even ask them questions. Hey, what finger would you use for the letter A on the keyboard? But you're gonna have to separate now what they associate as negative, because that's what they're used to. And I totally agree. The schools don't. They throw them on there and show them how to take tests. They put them on there to do their work, but they don't teach them the nuances. So yes, it's innate, and they maybe have these natural affinities for it because of those things, but they don't truly know, how to engage a computer and to type and to research Wikipedia.
All right, question?
It's always hard to follow, Neirda. I'm Neil. Cheryl, this question's for you. It's kind of more organizational, I guess, but for folks that might be interested in becoming digital navigators, is the intention that they're embedded in an organization like our guest here, or is it sort of also like kind of an at-large thing where they could serve the community?
Well, if you know the Patterson Foundation, you know we are flexible and we roll with what's needed. But the first 3 cohorts were embedded in organizations that had clientele that really needed that upskilling and needed help with other, aspects of digital navigation. But right now we're working in DeSoto County, and that's our cohort 4. And so we're really trying to figure out what best fits that community. So we're actually willing to form cohorts around what the best opportunity is at the time. Yeah. Okay, we have one more question, and then we are going to send you back into the main room to wrap up for the day. We have a panel there, and we will be also doing some other things. So any other questions? One more?
Yeah, I'll take this. Just yell a little less. My name is Diego. I actually work for Sarasota County Libraries, and we have our own digital navigator program. It's called Tech Navigator. So everything that you were saying kind of about the challenges and everything that kind of goes along with the digital navigator program, I feel that so much. As for the question, one of the pieces of feedback that we get the most from people who use our digital navigator service is that they would love to see more classes, actual programs that are just kind of a dedicated hour-long thing to discuss different topics, in addition to the 30-minute appointments that we make with them to teach them about very specific things. We did that before and didn't get the participation then, which is part of why we kind of went towards the digital navigator thing. Have you seen similar feedback from your own digital navigator program, and have you tried to then also bring that kind of programming back in some form? How'd that go?
That's a great question. So at the Women's Resource Center, we do all of our digital navigator services or navigation services are one-on-one currently. However, I mentioned earlier, we are going to launch a workshop for our Latina clients that will be a group classroom setting. So that's something that we're about to pilot and experiment with. Same challenges with other in-person classes, workshops not related to digital navigation are people going to attend? Are they going to show up? Are they going to stay engaged? If it's a multiple session workshop, are they going to come back the next week? So it's hit or miss sometimes, but we're about to pilot that and see, but we do see people asking for classes and they want to learn from each other. They may have a question that someone else has but is afraid to ask, or they may not have thought of a question that someone else is going to be asking. So there's great value in offering classes, but it's just something we haven't done yet, but we're about to. So stay tuned.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm going to grab this there. I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to say let's give a round of applause for our digital navigators. And I'm going to just remind you that if you want to know more about the Digital Navigator program that we did our cohorts on, you can go to the Patterson Foundation's webpage. And there's a special page just for Digital Navigators. It'll tell you the other cohort organizations that have a Digital Navigator or more in, and some more information about that. So thanks for your time, all right? And hope you all go back into the main room for the next panel discussion from our Economic Development Corporation and some private sector businesses in the industry. Thank you.